There's more than one way to live forever. We're told there's immortality, and we're told there is replication. And the only form of immortality that we know for 100% fact we have is replication. But we know pure replication always leads into errors and stagnation. And so that's why in a competition-based system in the species, males and females compete in art, in literature, in physical prowess, in beauty, in physical accumulation to heighten the development of genetic models that build and complement the species. The globalist model, though, is one of physically trying to go into the DNA and the mitochondrial DNA and irrevocably mutating and sabotaging it to cause degenerative mutations and to not even cause mutations that statistically are known to create traits that could be desirable or desirous, like the mutation of the Ice Age humanoid Homo sapiens sapien that you're looking at on your television screen right now. That would be culturally, worldwide, desirous. And why do I speak about these things? Because if you don't look at the world through the perspective of the technocrats, you are living in a matrix. And that's what I'm here to tell you. All this other news is simply a facade within the continuum of the manipulation. And the public is now awake to the fact that there is a manipulation and social engineering going on, but they're not awake to what the social engineering is trying to do. And this morning, I call it a flashback, but it's not really that. It's bringing up the data, the legions of examples of premeditated, admitted, ongoing, current, and past testing of degenerative and even lethal chemical, biological, radiological, nanotech programming into humanity in an ongoing total assault. And we have all the metric graphs to show the devastation that it is causing. And to know that we're all part of an experiment by a super elite to develop life extension technologies for themselves, but to also decide which way they want to mutate, whether it will be biological or electrochemical or purely silicon or an augmented meshing of the silicon with the electrochemical biological species. And that's why I drive up to a checkpoint with cops in riot gear. I mean, it might as well be pygmies, you know, playing with their tallywhackers. I am from the perspective of the technocrats, except I don't want to hurt them. I see how they're being manipulated following a programming system. I see how the public's being manipulated. I see all the different angles. And I simply want the public to not believe me, but to take the red pill, step back, and see it for themselves, and then it's all a joke. But to even communicate with the public, I've got to go in and model things and cover news most of the time from a substrata of the controlled paradigm to even try to get through to someone. It's like going into the Matrix, jacking in, and telling Neo in the first 10 minutes of the film, this is all fake. I can't really explain it to you. You need to take this red pill, but remember, this is going to freak you out, and all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. But it is within that great truth coming out of Plato's cave, the allegory of the cave, that you are alive and that your consciousness and your awareness flowers into a fractal paradigm of expanded understanding that is limitless. And then you come face to face with the realization that the elite are 100% on this page, but have made the decision to wall off 99+% of the public, and that they are on a power trip, because even though they're intellectually smart and scientifically smart, they don't have heart. They don't have soul. They are so wicked that it seems to them the evil course is the surest course, and you can clearly see out a few hundred steps that there's no way they're ever going to get out of this or be successful with the wavelength paradigm spirit that they have released. The spirit, the wavelength, the spirit of the age, the essence of the technology they're using, the cultural twisted mathematics, is a virus that will not build what they tell themselves they're building. It's building a nightmare. And then it hit me, the conspiracy, the criminal racketeering of the state of Texas in 2006, in the Gardasil HPV trials with Merck, and all the deaths and autoimmune disorders and sterilization that was happening. It was in the journals, in the local news. Their answer was to triple down and to come out and say, it's the law, you've got to take this vaccine, or mothers, you'll be arrested, your daughters won't get cancer. Even though the cancer is extremely rare, the vaccine insert says it doesn't protect you. And we knew it was going to be linked to sterilization because it had already done that in a lot of the trials. And they went on the air and said it was the law and ran TV ads, which became the model in India and Mexico and everywhere else. And everywhere after the first few rounds there, they outlawed it in India because they went and studied it in the local news. National news said, no, it's a sterilant. And the government got in trouble for that over there. I mean, it's admitted what it's doing. And then I've got to sit there with someone that's known me for 6 years and convince them not to take it or not to give it to their child. And now they're giving it to little boys. And it just shows how deep we are in this whole thing. The cops give it to their kids. The bureaucrats give it to them. The FBI agents go give it to their daughters. And you all think you're part of the power structure. You're being murdered on record. It's like fluoride. It's in thousands of studies. 26 studies looked at by Harvard in 2012. Just type in Harvard study fluoride, where if you drink it for a couple years, when you're a child, it lowers your IQ more than 10 points. And it gives you a 7-fold increase in bone cancer and a bunch of other stuff, adrenal failure, kidney failure, liver cancer. I mean, my God, absolute fact. and so I don't know to laugh or cry when some bureaucrat comes banging on our door and says, I'm from the state, I'm here to inspect your office for this or that, and is on a power trip. I mean, I'm literally looking at a brain-damaged creature brought up on television their whole life on a petty power trip, who drank fluoride their whole life and just wants a bigger truck or a fancier house, or, you know, operates at an animal level of hating their supervisor. And I'm sitting there on a whole nother level, not on a power trip, in sadness at a wrecked creature. realizing, though, that it is a piranha and a servant of the system that destroyed them and shuttered the doors of perception and their consciousness. I mean, I've seen hundreds of local newscasts in the last 7, 8 years, 9 years with Gardasil. Hundreds. We've aired probably 50 of them here. Unto the point that I'm conditioned to where I don't even get upset about it anymore and don't even talk about it when Rob Dew goes, look, another girl died from Gardasil. Sometimes the doctors admit, oh, yeah, you had a bad reaction. Other times they go, oh, we don't know why we gave it to you and you died in the clinic or died in the car on the way home or died the next day. And then, of course, the sudden death infant syndrome, they've confirmed in Australia and Japan, that's why they don't give babies shots before 18 months in Japan, that you give a baby, a few dozen shots, they have an autoimmune response, their blood, they have an aneurysm, their brain bleeds, and you come in and baby's in a coma and then baby dies. It was only meant to brain damage your child. So they would be one of these zombies. But, to be strong enough to do that, especially with little boys aren't as strong as little girls. That's the same in all mammal species, from whales to rhesus monkeys to Homo sapiens sapien. Girls are more hardy. That's a genetic design to be able to handle childbirth. Any medical doctor will tell you that. But you go on, your little boy has got blood coming out his nose, and the police officers are going to take you to jail and indict you. Because the cops don't know that they were murdered by the state. And the cops see a little baby with blood coming out its nose. They want, and the hospital is going to say that you shook your baby. Because you see, if that lie falls, if we admit the fluoride's hurting us, if we admit the shots are designed to brain damage us, then all the rest of it caves in, see? So they have to say you shook your baby. They only admit it when your child dies at the doctor or on the way home or is old enough to where they can't blame you. Let's go to a short clip from the local news piece. This is up on Infowars.com from Wisconsin, WTMJ. And you see the image, this little 12-year-old girl. She doesn't get married. She doesn't get to have kids. She doesn't get to go to Cancun. She doesn't get to see the stars at night that are big and bright. She's dead now. Let's go to the clip.
So what caused the 12-year-old's life to be cut so tragically short? A few hours before she died, Meredith was complaining of a sore throat. Her mom took her to the doctor. While there, the 12-year-old also got the first round of the HPV vaccine.
When I came home, she had just thrown up and was non-responsive on my living room floor. I performed CPR, and she was taken to Waukesha Memorial, where she died.
And by the way, until 6 years ago, pregnant women were never supposed to take shots. Any doctor will tell you that. They knew that it caused all sorts of problems. And until 6 years ago, you never gave someone that was already sick a vaccine. It was well known to cause autoimmune problems and brainstem death.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. Today I'd like to talk about the war on women. You've experienced and heard about the benefits of super male vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Each of these ingredients works synergistically with the female body in order to maximize overall vitality. You've heard the reviews and the feedback on how the original Super Male Vitality has revitalized relationships. Now, both the man and the woman can have the revitalization in their own bodies with Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.
One man dies, it's a tragedy. 10,000 die, it's a statistic. Joseph Stalin. Robin Williams dies, and the whole world mourns. A man who was super rich and powerful and successful and had a long life. But will anybody mourn for the 12-year-old girl, Meredith, had a zest for life, and it showed in her pictures. She was active and healthy, but now her family is trying to figure out what tragically cut their daughter's life short. And for every story of a death, there's hundreds of the wheelchairs and the blood pouring out from the sexual organ and from the eyeballs. And it doesn't matter how many people die, how many get sterilized, or how many foreign countries ban Gardasil. America will take it. Because the high priest up on the mountain said you must do it, the medical doctor. And the medical doctors can never admit this is happening. Because then what does it say about their whole profession? That they're just big pharma pushers. Oh, and who set up big pharma in the last 100 years in Germany, in England, and the United States? Who set it up? The Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, the Rockefellers, who literally set up Hitler. Hitler had a plan that was the apple of British intelligence eye. They weren't going to go into Africa and Latin America and everywhere and just kill everybody, the subhumans as they called them. They were going to take over and then taint the food and taint the medicine to dumb the population down into an orderly extermination. That's in Pulitzer Prize-winning books, by the way, like Rise and Fall, the Third Reich, and others. Because the Germans needed living space. I think it translates Lebensraum. Am I saying that wrong? See, it's not that I was crazy, like Gnarls Barkley says. It's that I knew too much. Meanwhile, are we fighting? You know, if black folks would have rioted in New York 5-6 years ago when it was in New York Daily News that they were taking black kids from black women, they'd tell them, and it was in the news, you want to keep your 2-year-old, sign these forms, let us have your 7-year-old. And they'd take the little black kid and they'd strap them down and take a week to give them pesticide till they died in a big pharma test. You don't have any animal rights folks that are worried about kids, though. They're only worried about rats not being tested on. That's the cause celeb for every young lady to be involved in. That's the trendy thing to do, which I'm all for not having animal cruelty. But that was in New York Daily News. And no one got in trouble. Medical experiments on kids. They do it to poor whites, too, but blacks are their favorites. Nobody listens to them. No, we're going to have a woman fired from Black Educators Association because she wasn't really black enough. That's in the Egan News today. So you got the black folks worried about somebody not being black enough. But, hey, some kid, hundreds of thousands of Christians getting killed. Nobody worries about that. It's the Palestinians. Again, I'm sad for the Palestinians. My point is we're only told to debate about 1,000 dead, not 200, 300,000 dead. This hour was brought to you by MyPatriotSupply.com, MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex, high-quality, non-GMO storable foods. You're insane if you don't have storable foods at this time and date, in my view. 866-229-0927, MyPatriotSupply.com. We have the owner of one of the shops joining us that's in the news. Has shops right in the middle of where everything got looted and burned down in a suburb of St. Louis, South St. Louis. But we're going to get County Guns LLC owner on. And, of course, it was in the local news. Folks out front their businesses with AR-15s protecting them. So that's very exciting to see the Second Amendment maintaining order when, obviously, the police can't. And I do think there should be more representative, the fact that you're going to see this type of stuff happening when that area, that town of Ferguson is mainly black, and I think it's something like 80% of the police force is white. But then the argument is they've got all these drives nationwide to try to hire black officers, and I know that's true because I've looked at the statistics, and they just can't hire them. They just can't get enough folks to go try to get the job. But in my experience, I've seen just as much police brutality, black on black, as I've seen white on black. And the statistics show that. Again, the statistics don't lie. Depending on the area of the country, it's between 5 and 12 times black on white crime. And that's not an anti-black statement. It's just I'm telling you the fact. 5 to 12 times black on white crime. And it's similar number black on black. There's just an attitude, though, that, well, whites are inherently bad. Kind of like one of the new Black Panther Party guys said down in Houston a few years ago to the news. Don't rob and steal from black people. Go do it to white crackers. I mean, most white cracker asses are just like black folks working 2-3 jobs and getting some kind of assistance on the side because they can't make it. And, you know, their kids are going to juvenile because they got caught with marijuana. And, you know, I mean, hell, that half the people I see walking around are a black guy with a Hispanic lady or a white woman with a black guy or a white guy with a Hispanic lady. I mean, quite frankly, everybody's getting along pretty good except for the media trying to create all this racial division. And that's because that's all they've got, folks. They want to distract everybody with that. And I'm just sick of it. But it's mindless, idiotic tribalism. But I'm really sick of racist black people not knowing they're racist. On the news, Al Sharpton, it just goes on, where people feel like folks are racist against them, so it's okay for them to have this stereotypical attitude that white people don't like them, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where you just see incredible statements of you know, anti-white garbage across the board, and it's acceptable. And so, again, all through this guilt complex, government will oppress any group they can get away with. So you had a bunch of white people with black folks ending slavery and then trying to end you know, all these other abuses. And then when the war is partially won against that, instead of people going, wow, there are a lot of good white folks that said no to this, all white people are then baptized in guilt and told they're all inherently bad, even if their grandfather got here, you know, in 1900 from Poland or Germany, where nobody ever had any black slaves, and they were slaves in Poland and slaves in Germany, indentured servants. Most of the white people in this country weren't even here. Their ancestors didn't get here until slavery was over. And then most of the white people that were here before, what, 3% in the South owned slaves? And then the poor whites had their wages driven down by the slavery and were sharecroppers. See, I know the economics of all this, so I refuse all the guilt. I'm just tired of it. I'm sick of it. Alex Jones here for Infowars.com. We're going to be intensifying our efforts to awaken free humanity to the scourge of the globalist in the month of July. And starting this July 4th, we are going to slash prices in a celebration of true Americana, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence on all of the Made in America products that you will find at madein1776.com or InfoWarsStore.com. We're talking about Made in America belt buckles in brass and nickeled brass that state it loud and proud. Molon Labe. That's why we have the best-selling Made in America men's and women's Molon Labe Infowars.com shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a win-win. You vote with your dollars. You support the most hardcore organization out there for promoting true ideas of libertarianism, constitutionalism, basic human empowerment. But more importantly, you get T-shirts and belt buckles so you can meet like-minded people. So you have a conversation starter with friends and family and coworkers. We are reaching out to each other. And you also throw it in the face of the anti-gunners and the rest of the parasites out there that you're a free man and woman and that you're not going to be a slave, that you're not going to be intimidated to shut up by their tyranny that they call political correctness. That's why in the month of July, we have got giant specials on everything at madein1776.com. But to expand the InfoWar, we're offering the biggest special in the history, 13 years of PrisonPlanet.tv, our multimedia platform. We're offering the equivalent of more than 5 months free right now when you get a membership at prisonplanet.tv, and you get 11 memberships that can be used with the same username and passcode so you can share it with friends and family. Now is the time to fund the war bonds. Now is the time to fund the info war. Now is the time to get aggressive. Now is the time to double down. Now is the time to realize you are the people that made the info war so successful and one of the leading lights worldwide against tyranny. You don't stand behind us, you stand right beside us, and I salute all of you on this July 4th, 2014, and going forward in the month of July and onward. This is about freedom worldwide and that desire for human dignity and self-determination that beats in the human breast. We are brothers and sisters together in the true spirit of liberty and the animating contest of liberty. And so I quote in closing the great Thomas Jefferson that I have sworn on the altar of God resistance against every form of tyranny. And never forget, if you are watching or listening to this transmission, you are the resistance.